Alright, first or second installment of the Shawn Francis vlog. This is going to be just primarily about my life and what's really going on. And right now there's a lot of depression stuff going on. The duck is making too much noise. Honestly, it's only been 2 weeks and look how big he got. Not so little anymore.
Sorry about that, duck was making too much noise, it's quacking around, so quack, quack.
So here we go, let's get back to it. So I get a lot of questions every week. I try and respond to everybody who sends me messages, whether it's through
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, emails, whatever else. If you guys send me letters in the mail, I'll try and answer them.
The 3 questions I get most are, I obviously get a lot of pole vault questions. I've only made that 1 depression video, but the second most questions I get are on depression and what I've done and how maybe something I've said has helped somebody. And mental training, which kind of is a combination of both pole vault and depression. So yeah, I'm going to try and answer some of those questions today, if that helps. So let's kind of talk about some of the mental training and the depression stuff.
First and foremost, I want to say that depression has been with me probably longer than anything else, longer than pole vault, longer than any relationship I've ever been in. Just a very, very, very long time.
I've seen a lot of different therapists, I've been on a lot of different medications, I've been hospitalized twice. All sorts of crazy stuff has happened, which has to do with suicidal thoughts. I know there's probably people out there who have been through the same thing. So I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm trying to be as unselfish as I can by sharing this stuff that freaks the crap out of me because it's very personal and there's a big stigma on it. But at the same time, if I can help somebody through this kind of painful thing that's happening, then it's not going to be as painful anymore, and it makes me feel kind of good. So that's the idea. I'm not an expert, unless you measure an expert as someone who has tried to deal with it and been through it for
over 20 years.
We'll share some tips on cognitive behavioral therapy that have helped me, meditation, which has really helped me, and I'll kind of share a little bit of what's been going on the last 10 weeks with me through therapists and other things. So
here we go, let's do it. Let's see if I can help you out a little bit. Maybe it'll help me in the process too.
So when I was in the hospital up in Fargo, North Dakota for depression, I learned this really cool technique called cognitive behavioral therapy. And the idea behind cognitive behavioral therapy is that it's a hands-on approach to changing the way you're thinking or your behavior. You have thoughts, feelings, and actions, and they all affect each other. So if you can change one of them, like your thoughts or your feelings or your actions, it can affect the other 2 and potentially make you feel better.
Or if you feel really bad, at least bring you back up to homeostasis.
So I'll say that one more time. Let's use this graph as an example. Your thoughts affect your feelings and behavior. Your feelings affect your thoughts and behavior. Your actions or behavior affect your thoughts and your feelings. So it creates this perfect circle. I hate this graph because it only goes one way. Let's use this triangle instead because I like triangles more. It creates a perfect triangle.
Where your thoughts affect your feelings, and your feelings affect your actions, and your actions... But Shawn, that doesn't make any sense. I don't even know what you're talking about. Can you give me some examples?
Let's say you're taking a test. Your action is you haven't been studying for your test. So you haven't been studying for your test and you think you're going to fail. By thinking you're going to fail based on the action you had of not studying, then you're going to feel crappy and probably not study more and then fail.
I mean, that's a pretty good example.
Or, for the test situation, alright, well I think I'm going to fail. So to change your action, you could be like, well I'm going to study more. And then by studying more, you have a better thought process, and then you go in there feeling really good about your test. Makes a lot of sense, right? Well, let's do pole vault. Pole vault works the same way. Because I get this question a lot. You go to a meet and you're like,
I don't practice the same way I do at meets.
Maybe it's because you're doing an action that's different than you do in practice. In practice, you go out there and you do this certain set of drills and you always are jumping at a bungee. Alright, so there's your actions. Then at a meet, you go there and there's not a bungee anymore. There's a bar and you're like, oh my god, it's a bar, and that changes the way you think because the action is banged and blah blah blah, and it all kind of leads up. So what you could do is practice with bars. So then if you practice with the bar, that it's an action. So you changed the action, which then when you go to a meet, it's going to change the way you think about the meet, which is essentially going to make you feel better when you're on the runway and potentially jump higher. Does that make sense?
I mean, this can work a whole lot of different ways.
Again, the whole idea is you could change a thought or a feeling. Or a thought and an action. Feelings are a lot harder to change. The way to change feelings are like with medication, because feelings are like chemical things that happen in your body. So like it could raise your blood pressure or lower it or give you anxiety or take anxiety away. So if you can change one of those things, whether it's through medication, an action, or the way you're thinking about a situation, you could potentially make yourself feel better or put yourself in the optimal state of thinking or feeling to perform well. Or just to feel good. You know, if you're not a sports person, if you just have depression, you want to feel good. Yeah, that's just 2 examples, because I don't really need to do more. Let's do one more. Let's do the depression. So let's do one based on feeling, because we've done a thought and an action. So let's say you have depression and you feel very anxious, like that feeling of like anxiety. And if you have anxiety, you tend to avoid things, and that's an action. So you avoid going out and hanging with friends, or you avoid going to work or answering phone calls. So an action you could do to change that would be potentially to answer the phone, go hang out with friends, get out of your room, kind of jump in the anxiety pool. I call it an anxiety pool because I think of it like a hot tub. So like when you get into a hot tub, it's really hot, and the first thing you want to do is get out.
God, it's really hot!
If you stay in the pool long enough, it's not that hot anymore. Your body kind of adapts to it, and your body can kind of adapt to anxiety and things like that too. So by going out, you're changing the action. You might not feel the best yet, but your thought process will start to change. And if your thoughts can change, your thoughts are actually powerful enough to change the way you feel and change the way your body actually works. So if you can change, again, one of these 3 things, you can affect the other 2. And that's really, really, really powerful knowledge to have. I've been told I'm really weird and not a lot of people can change the way they think off a dime. But I think for me, just because I'm very educational based and like knowledge, that if I can learn something new and see the research behind it, it's really easy for me to change the way I think about something, if that makes any sense. So the first step is being able to recognize or be aware of your thoughts and your feelings or your behavior, and that can change everything.
But Shawn, how do you do that? I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't know how to do that.
With cognitive behavioral therapy, meditation is a way to be able to be aware of what's going on.
And there's a lot of weird stigmas about meditation, just like there is with depression and mental health. Like some people think meditation is a way to control things with your mind.
That's not true. That's telekinesis or the Force, if you're more of a Star Wars geek.
Or that meditation is mind control, that you can control your mind.
It's kind of like that, but you can't necessarily control your mind. You're just aware of what your mind is doing, and by becoming aware of what your mind is doing, it seems to calm down a little bit, if that makes any sense.
Only certain people can meditate.
No, you don't have to be a Buddhist monk or an old man, or little kids can even meditate. Steve and Caroline actually have Henry and Emmett meditating. Anyone can meditate.
And lastly, a lot of people think meditation is some new wave hippie bullcrap.
It's not. Actually, it's what sold me on it. There's a lot of research now being done on meditation and mindfulness techniques, and there are actually depression clinics all over the United States and even the world that are using mindfulness and meditation techniques to help cure depression. It's kind of cool seeing that science is catching up with this really old idea of what the Eastern cultures used to do. We're like, hey, we just found this out about meditation, and the Buddhist monks are like,
we already knew that.
So meditation is just kind of a way to train the mind. Just like you would train your body to perform better or pole vault higher or run faster or lift more weights, you can also train your mind and make it more pliable. So really meditation is just being aware of what's going on in your mind. At its simplest form, that's all meditation is just watching it, watching what your mind is doing.
But Shawn, that doesn't make any sense.
Here's a video from Headspace that will kind of show you your thoughts and your feelings are not who you are. They're just like pictures or movies that are going on in your brain. Or this guy explains it like they're clouds passing through the sky, and as who you are is actually the blue sky in the back. So check this out.
Take a moment to imagine a bright blue sky stretching off into the distance. Feels pretty good, right? This is a perfect metaphor for the mind. A blank canvas on which thoughts, feelings, and experiences appear. Okay, so maybe there are just a few clouds. But they tend not to bother us or distract us too much, especially if they're the cute little fluffy variety. This is how the mind appears when it's calm, bright, serene, and happy. But life isn't always easy. Sometimes there are a lot more clouds in the sky. Sometimes they might be the dark and stormy variety. Occasionally we might even begin to wonder if a hurricane is on the way. It gets to the point that it's hard to think of anything else. In fact, sometimes we get so obsessed by the clouds that we forget about the blue sky altogether. But it's still there. Every time you're in a plane and you fly through the clouds, there it is, right? Without fail, blue sky. It's easy to forget that what we're looking for is already here. And that's why we need reminding.
So like I talked about with behavioral therapy, or cognitive behavioral therapy, is that you have thinking, feeling, and their actions. And if you can separate those two, or those three things out and figure out which one is which, that...
Oh, I feel like a piece of crap today.
Do you really feel like a piece of crap, or do you think you're a piece of crap?
And if you think you're a big turd, like a physical big turd, that's different than...
Like, what is the feeling? The feeling is, I feel tired and sluggish. Those are feelings, you know.
A big turd isn't a feeling. I don't think it is, at least.
I'll have to look that one up. So if you can be aware and separate those things out, that's the trick. And not trying to stop a bad thought or stop a bad feeling. Just being aware and knowing that...
Hey, that just happened. I can't stop it, but if I make a different choice or decision down the road, then it can change, the outcome.
And this will kind of explain this too. Here's the second part from Headspace.
Training the mind is often quite different to how people imagine it to be. Maybe they have an idea it's about stopping thoughts or eliminating feelings. But the reality is a bit different. An easy way to think of it is to imagine yourself sitting by the side of a busy road. The passing cars representing the thoughts and the feelings. Now all you have to do is to sit there and watch the cars. Sounds easy, right? But what usually happens is that we feel a bit unsettled by the movement of the traffic. So we run out into the road and try to stop the cars, or maybe even chase after a few, forgetting that the idea was to just sit there. And of course all this running around only adds to the feeling of restlessness in the mind. So training the mind is about changing our relationship with the passing thoughts and feelings, learning to view them with a little more perspective. And when we do this, we naturally find a place of calm. Will we sometimes forget the idea of the exercise and become distracted? Of course we will. But as soon as we remember, there we are, back on the side of the road again, just watching the traffic go by, perfectly at ease in both body and mind.
So I know I've showed you 2 videos from Headspace, and just because I've been meditating for about 3 years now, and this Headspace app is the best thing I found, because it was really hard for me for a long time, because like training your brain, it's really hard for me just to sit there for 10, 15, or 20 minutes and just watch what my brain's doing. It would start to just
run away,
and I couldn't bring it back, and it got really frustrating for me. But Headspace was kind of a way, as there was guided meditation, there was somebody kind of walking you through it and talking you through it, and as you became better, they gave you more silence. So it wasn't just a lot of silence right away. So I didn't just, it's kind of the equivalent of asking someone to bench press 500 pounds the first time out.
It's like, no, you gotta start with like the bar, you know, and work your way up to 500 pounds if you want to bench, even though I think bench pressing is stupid.
That's kind of the idea. So I really like Headspace, and I've actually bought a year subscription, but the first 10 sessions are free. So if you guys want to download the app and see if meditation's for you, great, give it a try. Like I said, you can redo the first 10 as many times as you want and give it a try. And if you want to add me on there and be friends and see what I'm doing, I can see what you're doing, then cool, we'll do that too. So check it out. I hope that made sense. Cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness have been 2 giant tools in my toolbox for the last 3 years. I think I need some more tools because I've been still kind of slipping back into old ways of thinking. It just kind of catches up on me. And if you stop training for a while, you start to fall into those old habits.
What have I been doing the last 10 weeks?
I've seen 2 therapists. One, I felt like I overwhelmed completely, and this new one seems a lot better. She's a sports psychologist. I can't talk about her too much because of HIPAA stuff, but I've seen one doctor who is actually the best doctor I've ever had. Isn't forcing me to do stuff. She works with my ideas on stuff. So she has me on 5 new medications to get chemicals back to where they're supposed to be, and that's a lot of pills for me to be taking. So we're gonna try and move to a more supplementation, a supplement regimen versus medication. And so she started me on 3 new supplements already. And when my chemicals are all kind of balanced out, we're going to try and switch to the other stuff. And there's been a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot more downs than ups these past 10 weeks, I won't lie. But the thing is I'm trying to work through them. I didn't give up. and I always tell people who email me about depression is that if you're still alive and still kicking, you are 100% at getting through it. Like you're batting 1,000, which is pretty cool stat if you think about it that way.
This therapist and doctor have also seemed to read me pretty well, and they have gave me a ton of books that I need to read. Oh my gosh.
So, they kind of get me and know that I like knowledge, and these are the first doctors who ever like, here's a bunch of books. You should read these if you like knowledge. That makes me trust them even more. I'll put all these new books on team-hoot.com so you guys can check them out and get them if you want. I'll put reviews on them after I read them. I'll just put them up there and leave them blank and say,
in progress, still reading.
and if they suck, I'll take them off my website. So that's how that'll happen. Alright, last thing before I go, there's still this weird stigma on mental health and depression. And so, I don't understand why, you know, maybe it's just because I've been in it so long, but, I mean, you get yearly checkups from your family doctor. I don't know why people don't just go get yearly mental health checkups. I mean, you can injure your body or get sick, and your brain can do the same thing. So that just always blew my mind. Why don't you go see mental health once a year? I don't know. Think about that for a minute. Why doesn't that happen? I have no idea why.
Why wait until you get a broken bone to go see the doctor if you're starting to feel like you have shin splints and you don't want to get a stress fracture? So you go in early and be like, I feel like this could potentially break my bone.
So if you're feeling kind of down and depressed, or you have a lot of anxiety, and before it turns into full-out depression where you potentially maybe start thinking about the suicide route,
maybe you should just go in and get it checked. Nip it in the butt before it happens.
That's kind of what I'm trying to do. It started to get towards that suicide spot again, so I was like,
I've been down this road before. I'm gonna go get some help.
I think I waited still a little too long, because while I was getting help, then the suicide thought stuff started coming back in. But I think we're moving forward again, and which is good for me, because then I won't die. I suppose I shouldn't laugh, but gotta keep it funny, because laughter is the best medicine. So let me know if this helped you. If there's anything I said in here that helped you out, great. If not, I'll stop making depression vlogs and trying to kind of talk about this side of things. I wish someone made these vlogs when I was going through depression, just like I wish someone was making pole vault vlogs when I was trying to figure out all the pole vault questions and stuff. And then I wouldn't have been so old before I finally started learning about the pole vault. So yeah, next week I'll have a pole vault vlog and a training video, because I know that's what you guys like the most, or that's what I've been told. Stay healthy, mentally and physically. Okay, bye. As scary as it is to feel potentially judged by thousands of people on YouTube and the internet, it's totally worth it if I can help at least one person. And maybe even show them that there are options, and that there's always help out there. There's always options, and when I felt my worst, it has always been when I felt like I didn't have any options. This is an open invitation to anyone who is suffering from depression, knows someone who is suffering from depression, might need some help, or anyone else for that matter just looking for information. Whether you're a coach, a parent, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, etc., whatever, friend, I want to reach out and say I will always be that option for you. So contact me anytime. So, thanks for watching, and if you suspect someone you know has depression, or you have depression, please seek help immediately, and if you don't know how to get help, get a hold of me. It's a big deal, and it can sneak up and get you again, so don't let it. Just be aware. So yeah, thanks for watching the secret, scary, crazy vlog. I'll talk about pole vault next week, I promise. Okay, see ya, bye.